Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, rebirth of the spiritual warrior. Not going to say anything. I've already said what I had to say about awesome titles. Anyway, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Spirituality is a major problem in the world today, and especially in a world that's become increasingly materialistic and increasingly filled with distraction that comes with small devices and big ones, where people are genuinely disconnected from each other in even normal conversation. For two people to even genuinely have a conversation with each other is very difficult without having a mobile device interject with a text message or a Facebook update or an email or something. So people don't even make eye contact with each other while they're talking. And in this world of fast messaging and rapid response and 30-second videos and all of that, our attention span has really suffered. As a result of which, it's going to be just as a psychological exercise in this hall. There's quite a few number of people sitting here. Try not touching your phone for the entirety of this talk. See how hard that is. Because it's going to be hard. You won't even realize that you're doing it. You have to meddle with it, turn it on. Did anybody send anything? And turn it back off. And then look at it, how much battery is left. You can't help yourself. And this is what we've become. We have a more intimate relationship with our devices than we have with each other. Now, at least each other, we see each other. The relationship we're supposed to have with Allah, we don't see Allah Azza wa Jalla. So it requires a special amount of attention. It requires an extreme amount of focus compared to what we have now even for each other to really gain some sort of spiritual, experience, right? So spiritual experiences for most people have become uncommon, and they happen rarely. Rarely do they feel a moment where they're really genuinely connected to Allah. And they have that moment and it's very beautiful, but then it goes away and they think about that moment and say, when can I get that back? Maybe that happened to you in the month of Ramadan or something. In the middle of one of the prayers. Maybe that happened to you in the middle of a khutbah, just for a few seconds, and then it disappeared. And I cannot describe that feeling to you, nor can you describe that feeling to me, because that feeling is, in fact, indescribable. I'll tell you something personal about my own spirituality. This year at Hajj, I have probably never, ever felt closer to Allah, not even by a long shot, the way I did the day of Arafah. The day of Arafah, when we just have to sit from the afternoon until the setting of the sun, just sit there and talk to God, just talk to Allah. And you can't even do any official prayers. You don't even get up and make the raka'at and things like that. You just sit there and you make dua. You just make dua. And so I'm sitting there about 6, 7 hours, 8 hours, just in one place, and all I'm doing is making dua. It does something to you. You start actually engaging Allah in conversation. Those du'as stop becoming artificial words that you've memorized, and you're reiterating the ones that you've learned since childhood. The ones that your parents made you memorize. They don't just become that. They become actual words you're dealing with Allah with. And they start becoming a reflection on yourself. The tears start rolling down your eyes and you can't even stop them. You start apologizing to Allah as though you can see Him, even though you can't. And this is a real spiritual experience, and at the heart of that experience is a conversation with Allah. I started this talk with how we don't even have genuine conversation with each other anymore. You recall, just a few seconds ago? I brought that up because at the heart of spirituality is the slave of Allah, the servant of Allah, engaging in conversation with Allah, a conscious conversation, not a whatever conversation. Not a whatever conversation. Not an artificial conversation. Let me give you an example of an artificial conversation. Assalamu alaikum, how are you? I'm good, how are you? Good. Completely artificial. You may not be doing well at all. You say, good, pretty good, pretty good. Because you don't feel connected enough to this person to let them know how you're really doing. So you stick to the generic, pretty good, alhamdulillah, it's okay. But if someone I love, someone I trust, someone I know I can talk to, someone I know will not tell my problems to others, someone I know whose advice is going to help me calls and says, how's it going? I was like, not good, bro. I need to talk to you. We need to talk. I've got the serious issue, I just need to hear what you have to say about it. Wouldn't that happen? That is the kind of conversation we're supposed to have with Allah. We need to, if we're going to engage in real spirituality, we have to actually go beyond the artificial. SubhanAllah, 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 SubhanAllah. Done. It's cool. It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. But it's not spirituality, and you're not fulfilled from that. You're not. So what I want to talk to you about in these few minutes that I have, and I don't even think I'll need the entire 30 minutes. I just have practical tips for myself and for all of you to how to get to spirituality. It's not going to happen overnight. How do we start having genuine spiritual experiences and really reviving our faith through these genuine spiritual experiences and make them a more common occurrence than they are right now? How do we practically do that? The first bit of advice I have for you is go to sleep early. I know, I'm talking to students. Why would you say such a thing? It doesn't make any sense to us. We don't know what that means. What is this word early of which you speak? I haven't heard this before. You know, go to sleep early. Because going to sleep early means you'll wake up early. And waking up early means you'll be fresh for Fajr. The first prayer of the morning determines the spiritual health of the rest of your day. If your Fajr is not intact, your entire day is not intact. Forget it. You're going to have a lousy day. You need to start your day with a beautiful, direct conversation with Allah. And Fajr has a specific importance from a spiritual perspective. Not only that Allah Azza wa Jal tells us in the Quran, إِنَّ قُرْآنَ الْفَجْرِ كَانَ مَشْهُودًا, that the Quran recited at Fajr, the Quran of Fajr will actually be witnessed, has been witnessed. And ulama have debated and talked about the word mashhood and how it even suggests that Allah Himself is special witness to you getting up in the morning and praying to Him and talking to Him. But Fajr is a time when most of the world is asleep. So you're not distracted. Nobody's sending you text messages at Fajr. Nobody's sending you an email. There's nothing to do with your device. It's just you and Allah. Maybe even your roommates are asleep. Your friends are asleep. Everybody's asleep. Maybe even the rest of your family's asleep. It's just you and Allah. It's the best time to engage in conversation with Allah. And I'm not saying that tomorrow morning when you wake up for Fajr by Allah's permission and you're going to pray, it's going to be a spiritual experience. But if you start taking care of your sleep at night and you wake up fresh, you have better chances. You have better chances. You need to take care of that. And the second bit of advice, not just go to sleep on time. Pray Isha as soon as it comes in. I shall say that again. Pray Isha when? You'll say it for me now. As soon as it comes in. Don't wait for it. Oh, it just came in at 7:30. I got time. 9 o'clock, I got time. 10:30, I got time. 11 o'clock, I got time. 12, let me just sleep a little bit. I'll wake up and pray. Extra late Fajr special session. Right? Extra late Isha. Don't do that to Isha. Pray Isha at its time. And actually, if I know that there's going to be a session later on, not by me, but others on time management. I'm not going to give you a session on time management, but spiritually speaking, in the sense of spirituality, if you can really work on marking down your time for the evening prayer, the Isha prayer, and therefore fixing your Fajr prayer, then you are on the road to spiritual success. You are well on that road. Now, let's talk about Fajr a little bit. What you need to do as students, I'm not giving you heavy, lofty goals, like have khushu' in every word you recite, have full concentration and cry in every word you recite. You're not going to get there anytime soon. It's okay. It's okay. Just pray Fajr on time, and what right now? Isha. Fajr on time. And for brothers, if you can pray in Jama'ah, it is so much better for you. It is so, and you will feel the experience and you'll feel the difference in your day if you can make it to the masjid for Fajr. You will feel the difference. It'll affect the way you study. It's going to affect the way you carry out your day. You're going to have more, everything you do will have more blessings in it, and you will notice it. There's going to be a positivity to everything you do. It's textured by that Fajr prayer. Now, the thing you want to do little by little, your minds are fresh right now, and I know you don't think so, but you have a lot of free time. You have an insane amount of free time. And if you don't believe me, you will after you graduate and start working. And you will look back and say, man, I had a lot of free time. Now you waste a lot of that time, but I'm saying if you can dedicate some of that time to memorization. Memorization. Now specifically, there's two things I would like you to consider memorizing. One, I want you to start memorizing select surahs from the Quran. Just short ones, easy ones to memorize. You can pick ones from Juz Amma, it's okay. If you don't know any surahs, you don't have to tell anybody about that. Just start memorizing little by little by little on your own. Even if it takes you 6 months to do one page, it's okay. It's you, just between you and Allah, that's it. You love Him so much, you want to memorize some of what He has to say. That's all this is, right? Now, just as an added resource on my institution's website, on bayina.com, there are podcasts for every surah of Juz Amma. For the 30th section of the Quran, for every surah, every chapter in there, there's a detailed lecture study of it. Memorize it, then listen to the lecture. And if there are other teachers, other scholars, other videos out there that are describing those surahs, listen to that. Why? Because now what you've memorized, even if you don't know Arabic, if you've memorized it and you've heard a detailed explanation of it, you don't just have a parrot-like relationship with these words, you know something about the depth, the wisdom, and the guidance in these words. So you have a real relationship with these words, and that's my motivation for putting the podcast up is that, for Juz Amma particularly. Because most people will memorize something from that, at least they have something that they can listen to and say, okay, that's what this is talking about. Now what happens is when you recite the surah, if you can't even concentrate, at least you try to remember what was said about the surah or something. It's more concentration than you had before. It's more than what you had before. At least now, when you're standing there and praying and you're looking down at that really creative musalla rug that you bought, you're not wondering about this one going, this turny thingy going that way and this one going 3, but this one's 4. Why is that? It's asymmetrical, and and while you're in sajda, you're trying to fix it, and so at least you're not doing that. So I say 80% of your memorization efforts should go towards Quran. 80%. I'm just throwing a number out there, okay? And 20% of your memorization efforts, here goes, should go towards memorizing special prayers, special du'as. Small book, Fortress of the Muslim, costs $5. You can get it pretty much from any Islamic bookstore. Get a hold of it. There are probably PDFs online anyway of it. If you're that, the economy is tough for you, then that's fine. So download the PDF. I think there's even apps out there for it now. Memorize the dua for entering the house and leaving the house, putting the clothes on and taking the clothes off, going into the bathroom and coming out of the bathroom. One dua a week. Not even everything in one shot, one dua a week, and add it into your day. Now when you get up, you know what what to say to Allah when you wake up. Now when you're about to go to sleep, and what's beautiful about those du'as is the meanings are all there. It's translated for you, right? You don't need an in-depth analysis. They're very self-explanatory. And why are these du'as important? Because they are the Prophet's own spiritual practice, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So now you're trying to introduce spirituality in your life by adopting the Prophet's own spiritual practices, alayhi salatu wasalam. And that's why this is a really effective way of you starting to engage with Allah. Outside of the context of prayer. You sit in the car, you make the dua for travel. And the other really cool thing to do is when you make the dua for travel and you're not familiar with the Arabic language, to even at least remind yourself of what you read in translation. What did that mean? Oh yeah, subhanallah. And then begin your journey. And then start driving your car. This will necessarily start impacting how conscious you are of Allah on a daily basis. Because what these du'as, they're basically, these are supplications and du'as for all occasions, right? Eating, sleeping, meeting friends, departing, etc., etc. Every circumstance in life, there's a prayer for it in Islam. There's a small prayer for it. What that does is, you don't experience anything in life that is not an excuse to remember Allah. That's what that does. It makes every circumstance of life a spiritual opportunity. That's what it does. And that's the beauty of these du'as. So I said first, work on your prayer by memorizing a little bit more of the Quran and understanding what you've memorized. And 2, little by little, one dua a week. One dua, not more than that. What was the name of the book I mentioned? Fortress of the Muslim. Just one dua a week and add it to your regimen. Don't just memorize the dua and not use it. I say one a week because you memorize it. Maybe you can pull it off in a day. The rest of the 6 days, you make it a point to use it. To actually use it. You don't have to memorize every dua in that book. Pick the ones you like. It's okay, you can be selective. Pick the ones you like. Like if you don't ever go to the masjid, don't start with memorizing the dua for going into the masjid. Don't start with that. Start with the one you're going to use. Yeah, and if you find a section there, selling a camel or something, and don't do that yet. You're a couple of months away from selling camels, so just don't worry about that yet. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say as far as practical spiritual practices are concerned. Now, I'll leave you with this thought. I mean, I really just want to give you little that you can accomplish. And I tell you, أول الغيث قطر ثم ينهمر, as they say in Arabic, the first of the rain is a drop and then it pours. These little things, they add up to a lot. Don't underestimate their value. Don't think, how am I going to become the spiritual warrior? Don't worry about it, you'll get there. You have to get your training with little, small steps, baby steps, and inshallah ta'ala you will get there. Now, just a long-term goal. This is not a short-term goal, it's a long-term goal. For me personally, and this may not be true for everyone, but I know it's true for a lot of Muslims, my personal spirituality and the spirituality that I'm trying to teach my children is rooted in their relationship with the Quran. It's rooted in their relationship with the Quran. I want them to have a personal relationship with this book. Not just in the sense that they can memorize it and recite it well, but actually that they're engaged in it as though Allah is talking to them when they're reciting it. So they have a direct conversation with Allah every time they're reciting the Quran. And I feel that is the most sustainable approach to spirituality. If you can develop that over time, then you actually have the endless wellspring of the spiritual fountain is there for you. You can constantly drink from it. Every prayer will automatically become a spiritual experience. Even if the imam is leading the prayer and he's reciting a passage you don't even know, because you have a direct relationship with the Quran, you will actually benefit from every single instance of prayer and every single instance of memorization. Now, how do you do that? Well, obviously the big hurdle before us in the Quran, there is a language barrier, right? And that language barrier, of course, is the Arabic language. وَالْبَعْض مِنْكُمْ يَتَحَدَّثْ الْعَرَبِيَّةِ. Some of you speak Arabic, but that ain't Arabic. Let me just tell you. That's either Egyptian or Syrian or Palestinian, it's Fallahi, it's Ambiya, it's this, one dialect or the other. That is not the Arabic of the Quran. And there's clearly a difference between them. So, 10 minutes? Not only 10 minutes. Okay. But you showed me a card. I shall remember that. Okay. So, what was I saying? Something about Adam alayhi salam or something? Creation story? No? Something about Arabic? Okay, yeah. So, my thing is, there is a way, me personally, my career as an Arabic teacher, that's what I do, I teach Arabic. And as a student in college, when I was trying to learn Arabic, I realized something. Arabic is this endless ocean, just like the Quran is also actually an endless ocean of knowledge. You're going to be a student of Arabic for your entire life and you still won't know much. That's just how it is. I've been studying the language since 1999, and I still feel like I'm about to pass the beginner level. I feel like that, But regardless, there is a minimal level of Arabic you can learn with very little effort that can get you functional with the Quran. It is possible. It is possible. And it doesn't require a lot of time from you. It requires maybe 10, 15, at the most 20 minutes a day. At the most. And not even every day. Maybe 3, maybe 4 days a week. 15 to 20 minutes a day, 3 to 4 days a week. And I believe in that philosophy, so I decided to experiment with that philosophy with my daughter. I mean, children make the best test subjects and they're available. You don't have to pay them. So my eldest daughter, Husna, I started teaching her Arabic about 15 minutes a day. And it's not Arabic reading the alphabet. She's past that point. Having her understand the Arabic grammar as it applies to the Quran so she can make sense of the text little by little by little. That's what I started doing. My agenda was I'm going to teach her that way for 2 years, but it'll just be 15 minutes a day. I've been doing that for 6 to 8 months now. Alhamdulillah. You can check out her progress. And I recorded the session because I wanted other people to benefit from those lessons too. People with a time constraint, people that are intimidated by, the ocean that is Arabic or the mountain that is Arabic, but they can develop that little by little. Now, I recommend Arabic studies because I believe it does have to do with your spirituality over time. I'm not saying you need Arabic to be spiritual, but if you want sustained spirituality, then you're going to have to, in my opinion, develop a direct connection with the Quran, and that's going to be very difficult until you have some level of Arabic. And some level of Arabic is not hard to attain. It is not hard to attain. Can I get all of you now to take out your cell phones? I want you to send a text message. Do it. I'm serious. Not to each other. God, I'll give you a phone number. I want you to first write the text message. The text message is your email address. The text message is your email address. Your phone's dead? You are so missing this party. Okay, you ready? Yeah, fat fingers and iPhones don't work together. Come on, type your email address. Here's the number. 972-696-7171. It's not my number. 97? Sure, yeah, 972 696 7171. Say that, repeat. Free? You'll find out. Okay. So here's what it is. I came to this MSA, this is the last talk I'm giving here. I'm heading back, inshallah. I'm cutting down on travel personally. I used to travel quite a bit to conduct seminars and classes, and I haven't been very much involved in the MSA scene. I've been out of it for some time, but I've decided to at least give some time to MSAs, and this is actually probably the only MSA conference that I've agreed to in the last couple of years. So I'm really happy that I got the chance to come. I'm very happy that I got to have some conversation with you guys. And on behalf of the organization that I'm from Bayina, I want to actually extend a gift to you, which is this text message that I'm sending you. Some of you already received the email. It's basically the first few lessons I teach my daughter, and I want you to experiment with it. See if you can do it. And if you can, good for you. If not, it's all good. But do remember the main advice I gave you today. Try to remember that. Make Fajr and Isha a priority, number one. What was number two? What was number two? Memorize some Quran and listen to what? Listen to what? Lectures, explanations of what you're memorizing. That's going to be important. And what was number three? What was number three? What was that book again? Fortress of Muslim. Some main prayers that you're going to be using, some main du'as that you're going to be using every day. Inshallah, that will bring a lot of spirituality into your life. Thank you so very much for listening, and I'm really glad for the hospitality and the wonderful comments and questions I received. Assalamu alaikum.